All right, most families throughout time have grown up watching television broadcasts, advertisements, such things. Television broadcasts are said to be the biggest product in America since sliced bread. I distinctly remember one very old commercial. It started off with a young kid skipping down the street, and then he goes to enjoy a canned cigarette. He lights it up and immediately starts blowing smoke rings out of his mouth. To me, it was like apparently that the kid had been smoking for a while, because I've smoked a cigarette before and there's no way I could blow a smoke ring. You know? So to me it was odd because he didn't have any weathering around his mouth. There was no signs of a cough or addiction. He actually seemed spry. He seemed in shape, and most importantly, he was in style. The tobacco industry has repetitively scammed our youth into thinking it is cool and hip to smoke. But the odd truth is those same tobacco CEOs will be responsible for over 420,000 American lives this year. Not to mention all the others that will suffer from various cancers, diseases, and many other respiratory problems. Major companies will hide all the cons and boost all the pros of their product just to get you to buy their certain type, or their certain type of brand. I'm here to tell you that the advertisements put out by the cigarette industries are all malarkey. Tobacco use has been known to cause hazardous side effects, pollute the world, and actually hurt your social well-being rather than boost your popularity. The tobacco industry, all the way up from the mid-1990s, has hid the fact that the chemical nicotine is in their tobacco products. It wasn't until the Food and Drug Administration deemed nicotine the active addictive chemical put into cigarettes. This was around the same time non-smokers started to realize that smoking probably wasn't a good idea. This also explains why smokers nowadays continue to smoke even though they are constantly warned about the detrimental side effects to their health. Although smokers are directly correlated with smoking diseases, recent studies have shown that they aren't the only ones suffering from cigarette smoke. Secondhand smoke is specified as a known human carcinogen or a cancer-causing agent by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, by the U.S. National Toxicology Program, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, and a branch of World Health Organizations. Stated by the American Cancer Society, cigarette smoke can contain up to 7,000 chemical compounds. To illustrate how hazardous tobacco really is, of those 7,000, 250 have been known to be harmful to the body, and at least 69 have been known to cause various types of cancers. Among these cancers include heart, lung, and throat cancer. In an old advertisement for Camel cigarettes, it states, "More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette." This picture being portrayed as an advertisement is one of a healthy doctor smoking a delightfully looking Camel cigarette. The tobacco company is trying to portray their product as one of the healthiest, smoothest smokes out on the market. By using the doctor's image of trustworthiness and knowledge towards the subject, it provides the viewers with a credible source or reference towards the Camel products. This entices people to smoke more Camel products and is one of the reasons why Camel is on top today. The advertisement to me is completely biased and 100% incorrect. Camel's use of the false advertisement during the 1960s played a huge role in the production sales, even though since 1964, 34 separate distinct U.S. Surgeon General's reports have been written to make the public aware of the health issues linked to tobacco and secondhand smoke. The ongoing research used in these reports still supports the fact that tobacco and secondhand smoke are linked to serious health problems and could be prevented. That's from cancer.org. With this being said, why do Americans still fall for simple marketing advertisements? Over the course of the 1960s and 1980s, the advertisements for cigarettes were everywhere. It was almost impossible to go anywhere and not run into advertisement for a tobacco pack or a full pack of smokes. Pall Mall cigarettes advertised stated, "If you want to look like a hot stud, count on us. If you want to be the next president, just do what Ronald Reagan does and simply smoke a bunch of Pall Mall cigarettes." The imaging being portrayed here is Pall Mall photo is, okay, hold on. The image being portrayed here in this Pall Mall photo is one of the wealthy businessmen enjoying a cigarette. Because he's smoking Pall Mall cigarettes, it's stated that is what caused him to be so wealthy and what caused all his success. The advertisement is also completely misleading and shows how money hungry the big tobacco businesses are. They will sacrifice our health for their success. Using false statements and imagery like this one seen in the ad by Pall Mall is exactly how they were attracted everyday American citizens. U.S. citizens are treated like sheep when it comes to consuming. To illustrate it only takes one dog to wrangle 1,000 sheep. And the same, it takes one powerful politician to convince 1,000 people. Using the president as an image puts the thought of power in people's minds. Pall Mall also left you with the feeling of cigarettes will empower you to make you a better human being, and it is exactly this false advertisements that led America straight down addiction alley. The only way to extinguish the loss of life caused by cigarettes is to completely ban the butts. There are many opposing sides stating that the cigarette ban will have a negative impact on our society due to losing money via simple loss of the economy. Although you can lead a stubborn mule to water, it doesn't mean you can make him drink it. To illustrate, you can inform the opposers about all the related health effects and explain to them that killing our pocket is indeed better than killing our bodies, but still they would continue to remain convinced that removing tobacco from our nation will only mean economic loss. In my eyes, removing tobacco must happen if we hope to clean our country of these known killers.
Caesar, are you here?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought the pace was a little too fast. At the beginning, I wasn't quite sure if he was going to talk about like advertisements in general, but as he kept going, I kind of got the sense that he was going to start talking about smoking and how the goods and the bads, which is what his whole essay was about. I didn't really get the side he was trying to, the facts that he was trying to say. I didn't really know if he was trying to do it persuasive or if he was just doing informative, because that's kind of how it sounded to me. But he did have some good quotes, and overall I thought it was a pretty good essay.
All right, well, your real claim is in the last minute of your speech that you're arguing that we ought to ban tobacco products, and I think that that should be in the first minute of your speech, and then the rest of the speech ought to be devoted to showing us how that is practical, how it would make a difference. The problem is 70% of your speech is about how crappy the advertising process is for tobacco, and none of those ads have been around for some of them for 60 years, some of them for 20 years. Tobacco advertising has been banned from television since 1970. It's vanished from magazines and newspapers, 15 years ago. So you're talking about how they continue to have this pervasive impact and get people hooked into smoking. I'm going, well, how are they doing this? Are they sending the ads into our brains someplace? You're looking at ancient history, which is interesting, and it's might be evocative of a social criticism of the time, but it doesn't really do much for your argument. Not right now. The idea that cigarette smoking is dangerous, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Nobody argues that. Every smoker knows that it's dangerous because they've all tried to quit 1,000 times. The problem is that they have a hard time quitting. Your argument ought to be, it's a lot easier to quit when you can't get access to the product, and we've got to get rid of access to the product. If we can ban people having access to drugs that are incredibly dangerous for them to use, if we can reduce people's exposure by prohibiting certain chemicals from being introduced in our food, then we can certainly do the same thing with a product that is killing 400,000 people around the world every year through these harmful consequences. And there might be an economic issue related to it, but in the long run it would be economically beneficial. I think that's the way you need to go at this argument. Like 2/3 of your argument is just like I said, it's historical social criticism that isn't applicable to the argument that you're making right now. And it's interesting, but I'm not sure that it really advances a point of view that you're talking about. All right.